When I say dinosaurs and guns and Capcom, what do you think about? Right, Dino Crisis. But what if it was in space, and what if you were a robot? Hi, my name is Trash, and this is my review on EXOPRIMAL. First of all, I would like to mention that the key for this game was provided to me by Capcom Europe, by Jono to be specific. However, I was not asked to say or not say something, so everything I'm gonna say in the video is my honest opinion, including the bad things that I think that could be changed. However, if you know me, it's as honest and visible as the pimple on my forehead. The premise of EXOPRIMAL is for 5 people to go on against hordes of dinosaurs, controlling these robots, and where each one of them has a different role. Some are better at damage, some are better at healing, some are better at taking damage. So the good old Triforce of healer, damage, and tank. The twist here is that you're competing at the same time with another team of 5 players, either in maps where you're trying to clear the hordes as fast as possible, or in PvP matches together with the hordes of dinosaurs where you try to control points or push payloads, and so many other things. Controlling a giant dinosaur on your own to try and kill the enemy team so they can be slower on their progress, but we'll get there. One thing that I think that it's really important to point out is that the game has no single player mode. It's constantly online, so no matter where you are in the story, what matters is the amount of missions you do. If you've ran 100 missions and you have a friend that is just joining in to start his story, he will have his own cutscenes. You won't have any cutscenes, but you guys will be able to play together and push towards the same missions. However, they will have less modes available, which you already unlocked earlier. The more they advance into their main story, the more missions they will unlock, as long as they don't ignore the database, which are these little side story bits that you have to manually interact with in a menu so you can unlock more modes and unlock more dinosaurs. However, it doesn't matter how far you are in the story, how experienced you are or not, you can play with any other player since the story develops on client side, so to say. If you like PvE or PvP, or you don't really care, you're free to select one of the modes. Personally, I always played with the I don't care mode, so I'll be thrown into either PvP or PvE modes. Matches are extremely fast paced, most of the time lasting 10 to 15 minutes for both rounds, rarely ever going beyond that, unless we are in a PvP stage and both teams are really going at each other. Now, I did feel like playing with randoms was a little complicated to succeed. If someone disconnects, you'll have a bot in their place, which is alright, but the bots aren't really that smart, so most of the times we just end up losing. However, if you queue together with 1 or at least 2 more players, then the game becomes way more fun. It's way easier to coordinate with your friends and way easier to push an objective or compensate for people that are not paying as much attention to the objective or are not as good at the game yet. The fact that the game has voice chat is good. However, I would prefer text chat. In my case, as a streamer, I don't want to risk someone coming in and shouting some obscenity that could get me banned. So I always have voice chat turned off, and I wish I could have a way to communicate with my teammates besides pings and emotes. And if you see that someone is not exactly playing a role that your team needs and you want to fill in, at any moment during the match you can switch to another exosuit with no penalty. You transfer your ultimate build-up, so to say, and instead of playing a tank, you can now play a DPS or a healer or whatever, and fill in the gap for, let's say, a mode that has hordes of dinosaurs way bigger than the usual. You might want to play someone like Murasame, where he's very good at countering gigantic hordes of monsters. If your objective is to only keep a spot and not exactly kill anything, but just keep dinosaurs away, maybe you want a team with 2 or 3 roadblocks. But if your objective is to kill dinosaurs as fast as possible, let's say a T-Rex, well, maybe you just need 1 roadblock, 1 healer, and everybody else can go DPS. So it's really easy to change your team on the fly, and it's fast-paced at the same time. There is no queue per role. This is something I wish we could have, but we'll get to the things I wish we could have. 2 last things that I would like to mention. If you're still unsure about this, let's say that this game is a mix between Monster Hunter and Overwatch, where it has the fighting gigantic hordes type of thing. Well, in Monster Hunter you don't fight hordes, but you fight AIs that are monsters, but you know that feeling of cooperating to fight against big enemies. And the Overwatch side of things, where it's a live service with PvP in it, but it's not always. So it takes me to another point. A lot of people are saying that this is just Earth Defense Force, or that other game. But after seeing some of the footage of that game, I don't really feel like it's that much like it. And I honestly believe that this could be a new staple for Capcom. If people give it enough of a chance, say they don't quit after 2 missions, especially if they have friends to play with, I feel like just like Monster Hunter, you either love it or you hate it. There is no in between. Anyone that likes Monster Hunter will tell you that they love the game. They absolutely love the game and they've poured hundreds of hours into it. Anyone that doesn't like Monster Hunter said that they tried to fight 3 or 4 monsters and they thought it was super annoying and frustrating and they don't want to play anymore. It's exactly the same feeling for me. When EXOPRIMAL got announced, I could not care less about this game. I tried the open beta. It was very interesting. Tried to get my fiance into it. She started liking it too. Tried to get my friend Dark Hero into it. He was also hooked on it. Talked to Duncan. Talked to a couple other players on my community, and well, we're all hooked now. So in my honest opinion, this game has wings and it has potential to be as good as Monster Hunter or as big of a success as Monster Hunter is. However, we need to tweak some things. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible about this, but here's the things that I would like to see changed. What I already mentioned, that there's only voice chat, I would love to see text chat. There's no surrender option, so if you're stuck with a team with 4 bots or 3 bots, but 3 bots and 2 players like I've had before, and you clearly see that you're going nowhere, I wish we could surrender instead of having to drag the fight until the end. So a surrendering option would be nice. The intros, when you start a match and you just see this gigantic image of someone that you'll have to play the game to know, and he's always giving this long speech. I believe that this is a hidden loading screen. However, I wish that I could have this time to see what my team wants to play and be able to switch faster. So I wish I could skip that initial dialogue every time you start a hunt, a mission. Right now, with 30 or 40 hours into the game, I can easily look at the player avatars and see who's playing which character and what's their role. However, as we go down the line and with more inexperienced players, I feel like it might be a little complicated to understand how many DPSs, how many healers, and how many tanks we have in the match. So I wish that either next to every player name, we could have a symbol of, a tank, a healer, or a DPS, or just, colors, red, blue, green, let's say, around their avatars, so we could immediately and quickly tell what is our team composition. You can have loadouts for your suits, as in you can have different emotes, you can have different stamps which are kind of like emotes but just little images. You can have different mods on your suits which change your abilities, but some of them are general for every exosuit. However, you cannot apply these preferences to all of them at the same time. I wish there was a way to apply a loadout, at least with the emotes and the stamps, to every character, not per character. And I wish there was a way to, by default, select a certain amount of exosuits and apply the mods to them in bulk, instead of going one by one and equipping 1 mod per exosuit. I wish things were just a little bit faster and more general. We already got a bunch of exosuits announced for, I believe, the 2nd update, but I feel like there's not enough supports. We need more supports and we need more tanks, and we need tanks that are more fun to play. Murasame, I think that's his name, is really fun to play, but I feel like the other 2 tanks that we have currently really lack. The last thing I would like to point out is that even though I understood that you needed to go to your database to input the information that you found and unlock more modes, I still don't understand when did I unlock something. Maybe I skipped some text, but I wish it was more apparent and not so gated, so to say, as to when I unlocked or didn't unlock something. Let's pick up the example of Monster Hunter. When you fight your first high rank monsters, from then on you see a list of the high rank monsters that you can hunt, and you see that there's a clear difference between low rank and high rank. When you fight your elder dragons, you start seeing other elder dragons and you have examples of other elder dragons that you can hunt, and it's not exactly this that I'm looking for, but I would like to have a more distinct understanding of when do I unlock something, even if it's a pop-up saying from now on these types of missions have been added to your playlist, so I wouldn't think that it's happening at random. Now, like I said, these are the things that I have to suggest. However, I love the state of the game as it is. If Capcom doesn't, quit, and I mean, they already have a roadmap, so we already have quite a couple things to do, but if the players accept the game and put their time into it, and if Capcom continues to put updates into this, my future's hope for the game is that it does in fact continue getting updates and it doesn't end up in a stale point where nobody cares about it anymore. Developers and players don't care. I hope it doesn't get to that. I do want to see a more variety of modes, because every time that there's a new mode coming up, players get excited. And since everything is fast-paced, even if it's a mode you don't like that much, you know that it won't last too long. I feel like a lot of the complaints from the players are that there's way too much PvP in the game, and I think that if that bothers you so much, then maybe the game is not for you. However, I think it wouldn't hurt the game to have PvE only modes, but actually PvE only modes. Personally, I don't care. I like the competitive side of things. I actually wish Monster Hunter had this mode where you could, compete with other hunters. So, well, maybe we're gonna get that. But I think it would be nice to have full PvE modes. Of course, I want to see more exosuits, not just alpha exosuits. I want to see different new exosuits, but this is obvious that's gonna happen. The same way we have a more PvE focused mode, maybe having more PvP focused mode, not having to go into a horde push and then on the second round going into a PvP mode. No, make it full PvP. I would like to see that. Either 2 PvE rounds or 2 PvP rounds. I think that would be nice. When you pick up a giant dinosaur and you use it to invade the enemy team, there's currently 3 different dinosaurs that you can get. A Carnotaur, a T-Rex, and a Triceratops. And it feels like if your team is doing too good, you get a Carnotaur. If your team is doing almost the same, you get a Triceratops. If your team is doing horrible, you get a T-Rex. But I wish that we could pre-pick from a pool of what our preference dinosaur would be to control. However, I see that this might be a little too overpowered, so I understand if that's not applied. Although, the pre-made chips that you get, that I think that would be nice to have as a pre-made pick. Chips are this additional thing. Every time you kill an elite dinosaur, he drops chips, someone in the team can pick it up, and in some maps, there are walls that you can put up, in other maps, they're a turret, in other maps, they're an AoE heal, in other maps, they're a platform. I wish I could pick that as a player and not be something in the map that spawned in the map. Because as a melee player, I would very much prefer to always have the turret, but as a sniper, I would always prefer to have the platforms. As a tank, maybe I would want a wall, and so on and so forth. I wish that the same way we can pick our secondary weapons, besides our exosuits, which I didn't talk about, but, well, now you know, which can be like a shuriken that stuns in a wave, it can be a laser beam, it can be a drill that you hit with, it can be a shield, it can be an AoE heal. The chips, I wish that they were also customizable. Although, once again... You mind? Although, with all of this said, I am loving the game. I think that the game is very, very fun, especially if you play with more players. Alone, I didn't feel that it was as fun. However, I have the same feeling with Monster Hunter, that if I'm playing alone, it's not that fun. But playing with friends, it's always much better. I like the competitive aspect of it. I like how it makes my blood boil trying to win over an enemy team. And I understand that this is not a genre that everyone would want. Also, I feel like there's been quite the backlash because this is not Dino Crisis. But when was it ever trying to be Dino Crisis? I feel like, if anything, you should be complaining about having so many Resident Evil remakes and not getting a Dino Crisis remake. Listen, I love Dino Crisis. If it ever comes out with a remake, I'll play it, even though I'll be scared to death the entire time. But I'll play it because it was part of my childhood. But seeing how people are complaining about EXOPRIMAL the moment they see it or the moment they try it, the game is nothing like Dino Crisis. And I honestly think you should give it a shot. I'm playing it on Steam, but you can try it out on the Xbox Game Pass if you have a chance to. And even though there is crossplay currently, there is no cross-party remates, which I hope that they implement that. Have you tried the game? Did you like it? What would you like to see different? Why did you not like it? Let me know in the comment section below. Once again, thank you Capcom, thank you Jono for sending over a key for me to making it able to put so many hours into the game on stream and off stream already, and I hope you guys enjoy it. This was my honest opinion about EXOPRIMAL. I hope you like it. See you on the next one. Stay tuned. Are we good? We're good now.